Earth has a lot to offer for those with a bird's eye view. This is one of the reasons why, since drones were invented, humans have been able to unearth a lot more things on our planet. Some of them are so astounding that without video evidence or without being filmed, quite a few people would find it hard to believe that they are authentic, or if they ever happened. From close calls with sharks to an army of bats, no one would believe these things happened if they were not captured by drones. Close call with a shark. Several creatures lurk in the ocean and can easily cause fright to anyone. The worst part is that you may not be aware that they are skulking just a few meters away from you while enjoying the ocean waters. In October 2020, a drone captured a heart-stopping moment on video. A family was enjoying their time kayaking in the water, totally unaware that a monstrous predator was skulking barely a few meters away from them. The shark lurked behind the yellow kayak for a few minutes, and this story would have ended differently had it not been for the man operating the drone. The family began to notice the shark because of the drone, and they immediately cuddled together to appear larger to deter the shark from approaching them. Fortunately for them, after lurking around for a couple of minutes, the shark decided to leave. The encounter may have turned out differently, but due to the help of the drone, the family escaped danger. Into the glory hole. This strange whirlpool is the well-known glory hole of Lake Berryessa in California. This huge hole still continues to dazzle and astound all the visitors who witness it in person. Some people also say it looks like a portal to another world. Well, we'll have to see about that. A drone had managed to picture the exact moment that a duck fell into the glory hole. While it didn't seem like the duck was worried about what was about to happen, it just went with the flow of water. The glory hole, or as it is known officially as the Morning Glory Spillway, is actually a hole in the Monticello Dam. It is a spillway that helps you decrease the amount of water in the dam anytime there is an overflow. The pipe that makes up this hole has a length of 72 feet across, and there is a 200-foot drop if you ever fall down the hole. At the bottom, the opening in the pipe narrows down and becomes a measly 28 feet, where it directs the water of the Puta Creek, from where it eventually flows into the Yolo bypass. Let's not forget that the duck fell into the glory hole. The question on everyone's mind is if the duck is still alive. The man present at the scene really has no idea if the duck is still alive or not. Whale visit. The ocean contains a lot of surprises. For example, the beachgoers in Dana Point Harbor were in for a pleasant surprise when a gray whale showed up and swam inside the harbor for about a couple of hours. Quite a lot of people were amazed by the gentle giant swimming in the water a few meters away from them. A drone had managed to capture the spectacular moment. It would seem the whale had unknowingly separated from its pod and ended up swimming inside the harbor until it finally found its way back. This whale's pod might have been migrating toward Alaska, and I guess the whale felt that spending a good day in the harbor would not be a bad experience. But to the people present, nothing could beat seeing a majestic whale swimming in the waters. Ocean of waste. When you are up high, you might be wondering what this strange pool of reddish water is. Think no further. It is but a collection of waste. Pig waste, to be more specific. This cesspool was found by Mark Devery while flying his drone over a hidden farm in North Carolina. Needless to say, many locals were disappointed by the discovery. Still, strangely, they weren't particularly surprised by the existence of the cesspool, as the smell of pig waste was very evident across the surrounding houses. Just try to picture the waste of over 1,000 pigs dumped into this big pool. Of course, it is expected that this huge pool is highly toxic. This is not the worst part of this situation. The worst thing is that the waste is emptied from this pool into gigantic garden sprayers spread around the farm premises. Of course, the waste is then sprayed into the wind, where pellets of the waste are carried by air. Some local residents say that because of the waste spray, you might mistake the liquid for rain. The smell was always so bad that they were always unable to open their doors or windows. Fish supply. You might be confused initially at the sight of a high plane dropping hundreds of fish down the lake. A drone had captured the exact time when the authorities of Utah were restocking the fish supply in the lakes. Yep, you heard that right. Instead of catching the fish, they drop them and supply them in their lakes. So, we guess it's not too much to say that fish rains happen a few times a year in the mountainous lakes of Utah. In fact, almost 35,000 of them are dropped by pilots in a few hours. The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources does this action to restock the lakes from high up the mountains. A low-flying plane carrying water with thousands of fish will fly 100 feet above the water and drop some tiny trout. There is no reason to be worried because the little fish are totally safe during the process, and they don't really feel pain from the 100-foot drop. The fish restocking ceremony is a weird and unusual sight. However, this practice has been done by the locals since the 1950s. This process is done to deposit fish and ensure that there are enough supplies in the water for the fishing enthusiasts. Murmuration. If you are still ignorant about this fascinating phenomenon, sit tight and enjoy this. A drone had managed to capture some starlings in the middle of murmuration. The name was coined from their tiny wing sounds as they dance in the air. Starling murmuration is a stunning sight to behold, with hundreds of birds flocking together to form one huge swarm that looks like they are dancing in patterns across the sky. At the very least, 500 starlings create patterns across the sky and make up a huge cloud-like swarm. During this process, their numbers can easily rise up to 50,000. The reason why starlings do this remain unknown, albeit there are some theories, one of which is defense. A larger swarm protects them from predators. Cannock Chase Girl. This is one of the supernatural videos captured by a drone. This video allegedly shows one of the black-eyed children of the Cannock Chase. In this video, there is a figure putting on a white dress hidden beneath a sea of trees. Cannock Chase is a trail found in Staffordshire, England. Ever since the Cannock Chase murders that occurred there between 1965 and 1967, stories about children with hollow black eyes roaming around it in the quest for revenge were circulated around by the locals. The perpetrator, Raymond Leslie Morris, abducted and claimed the lives of 3 girls, all between the ages of 5 and 7. He was arrested in 1968 for the attempted abduction of a 4th victim. Years later, the blood-curdling stories are all that are left in the Cannock Chase and the alleged ghost sightings. While most people believed the video footage, others doubted the authenticity. Tiger toy. Drones are expensive, and not everyone can afford them, so these tigers may just be spoiled. A drone was flown above the Siberian tiger enclosure in China's Heilongjiang province. The tigers, which looked a bit overweight, seemed curious about the weird contraption flying above their enclosure. The drone easily caught the attention of these cuddly tigers, or rather fierce hunters. The tigers immediately pinned down the drone as their prey, and in the end, they managed to bring down the drone and turn it into a chew toy. The remains of the drone were immediately retrieved by the staff that entered the enclosure in a safe vehicle. Dog finder. This dog, named Millie, was stranded earlier this year in the hazardous mud falls, and as the tides rose, there was no way to get her to safety. Instead, the firefighters and Coast Guard trying to save her had to be creative in a rescue mission. Since she denied every effort of reaching her, the authorities used a drone with a dangling sausage. Really, a sausage. And as a natural response, Millie followed the sausage, lured by its scent. The drone led Millie to a safer spot until her rescuers could bring her back to her owner, who was nervously waiting for her. Apparently, Millie is actually a rescue dog that slipped her collar while they were out for a walk in Hampshire, southern England. Millie's owner was very thankful to everyone that helped save her dog. I guess using drones to rescue dogs is a breakthrough. A drone and a piece of cooked sausage do the trick. Army of bats. What you see here is not a swarm of bees or any other insect. Instead, this black swarm that looks like black smoke particles is a swarm of bats. Millions of them, flying from a mountain, were captured by a drone. Bats are nocturnal animals and are most active after dusk till dawn. However, there's a chance that you might see a massive swarm of bats between summer and winter habitats. These creatures actually search for places containing more food sources and a warmer climate, while some also go to places perfect for hibernating or raising their young. You can't deny that this scene of a million bats flying in the air is eerie and frightening, especially if you don't like how they look.